Hey guys, welcome back. Steve Areno, Cool Kits, Monogram, B-29 Superfortress. Discovery phase. How does this work? Pick one. Boom. Talked before. My Alamed magazine process I follow through ideation, sort of design development, and gather stuff up. And then, of course, you got to build and get everything fit together because, as I've said, no amount of paint covers up bad fit. And sometimes you'll get other ideas and you'll loop around a little bit, do a little building, but you might divert back and do a little bit extra design development, gather stuff up. And the tools that I use, micrometers and stuff for measuring, and then airbrushing. And of course, the big challenge on the B-29 will be metallic finishes all over the place, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then of course, decaling comes at the end, and there's a specific way to do decaling, and it has to do with the fact that you have textures on the surface. They create refraction. I mean, that's how flat paints work. Here we go. I found the chart I was looking for here. This is not rocket science, but it's just something you got to think about before you go decaling. If you're working with flat paints, they're going to have a lot of tooth to them, and that's how they look flat, because light rays are being shot all over the place rather than going down and coming back up. And I'm talking at a microscopic level. It's a cross section here. And so, then you have your plastic, your primer, your color, and then to apply decals, you've got to smooth out that tooth by putting on some gloss clear. Then you can put your decal on, and that red line there is meant to represent a decal and cross section. And then, of course, you can lock it in by going back over the top with flat clear or gloss clear, depending on what type of work you're doing. Now, in car models, it's probably going to be a gloss clear. But in aircraft models, it's going to probably be a flat clear. So that last layer of clear determines what kind of overall finish you'll see when you look down and you even see your decals. But your decals have to go on top of gloss clear, right? And there's some tricks and techniques you can do depending on what type of colors you're using. But sometimes a lot of our colors are not available in gloss that we use on models. So that would be why you'd have to go back over with the gloss clear before you put the decals on. Otherwise, your decals are going to not set down smooth. They're going to look weird. And even if you go back over the top with gloss clear, they're not going to stick right. They're going to look weird. And that's not going to work. So anyway, there's a little bit about that. But anyway, have some opportunities for that kind of stuff on this model. But over back to process here. And process is great because it makes things repeatable and refinable. And did I just invent a word? Refinable. Okay, so it makes them repeatable and refinable. I like that word. It seems to describe what I'm doing. So before you're you have ideas, but you know what? You might have questions. And I've talked before about growing up in suburbia in the early 60s, and I was really fortunate to live around a bunch of guys who were major big-time model builders and sketchers and drawers and stuff. And I mean, we would get together, and there was one guy, Richie and Ronnie, and their dad worked for the newspaper company, and he would get these tailings off of paper rolls, bring them home, and he made a special drawing table that Richie would set out in the living room of the house. And Richie just took over that living room and made it into an artist studio. And he had this special table where it was on sawhorses, and he could lay the paper out, and he could pull the paper over the top of the table, and we would sit around there and we would draw. And so I learned how to sketch. Like three-dimensionally, because while it was a very artistic group of guys to be around, Richie, Ronnie, Steve from across the street, and me, and there were a couple other guys too, we sat around and do these big sketching things, and we would create major sketches. We would sketch up ambitious things like a Luftwaffe aerodrome with Me-262s. I remember we sketched that one. We had about 35 planes down there at all different angles and hangars and stuff, and I mean, it was a pretty good picture all sketched out. And then we got really ambitious, and we went out and we built it. We all sat around and built about 25 Me-262 Lindbergh kits, and we started hauling dirt. It was like that scene from Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind, where Richard Dreyfuss is hauling stuff in, you know. But that was what we were doing in the garage. We had plastic down, and we were putting dirt down, and putting plants down, and getting our ME-262s down there, and getting buildings, you know, making them in a car. And it was a big installation that we built. And we just did it because it was in our head, and we wanted to see it come to reality. So now when you're hanging with a group like that, there's one rule. If you can't do it, you can't stay. So, you know, we challenged each other, and it was a great childhood, and I don't know, I think it had a lot to do with me, and like, even though I was an engineer, you know, but I have a lot of questions about things, and I want to see how they work. And so my stuff is not meant to be works of art. My stuff is meant to be answering the question, what am I seeing? Sketching, watercoloring, not really meant to be works of art, but more, turns out that my wife framed these, but I mean, I never considered these works of art. I just did them so that I could focus my mind about what it is that I was seeing, right? What I was seeing. Colors. A lot of times, like I said before, the color you see is you would think, well, how's that water? You know, there's not really very much blue in that water. It's mostly greens, right? It's actually yellow in this guy, not what you would think, you know. Shadows are purple. I saw this down here, and what is it? And then man, the internet's great. Wish I'd had that when I was a kid, because you can answer so many questions. And really the premium is nowadays it's on asking the right question, right? The information is all out there. So I went after that, and I found out that that's, yes, radar.
He said, we don't have to be near your car. You see, now we've got radar. Radar.
Okay, so we have answer to that question, and of course it was all, the more I studied this airplane, the more remarkable it really was. I can understand my dad's really liking it, because it was remarkable in terms of what you would call like a critical inflection point in aircraft development. I mean, so many ideas finally came to fruition in this airplane, because you had what's called an integrated system, where the radar could integrate with the bomb sights for the job that this tool was meant to do. One thing to have bombs, but it's another thing to drop them where they're supposed to be.
If the enemy took comfort in the thought that the bombardier sees nothing more than this, they were living in a fool's paradise. For at a calculated instant, tons of high explosive would be sent away to the target, aimed by the miracle of radar. The radar scope, a small circular screen giving X-ray-like vision to the mysterious 11th member of the crew, the radar operator. Radar equipment consists of a radio transmitter and receiver. The transmitter sends a radio beam earthward. If it strikes water, the beam is not reflected. The receiver picks up nothing, and the scope appears dark, as it is now over the Pacific Ocean. But if the beam strikes a solid object, such as land, it's reflected and shows light on the scope. Adjusting the receiver controls sharpens the picture. The shape and contour lie off the southern coast of Honshu. The little one, Kojima, the other, Hachijojima. Two tiny dots on the face of the globe, a reference point for final calculations. Data taken from the electronic wonder instruments is converted to precision aiming, pinpoint bombing. The instructions are:
pilot, start 1/4 needle with turn, rolling out on the heading of 31 degrees.
Roger.
Bombardier, open bomb bay doors after turn.
Roger.
And that was something that wasn't exactly perfected in the European theater in World War II. And as a matter of fact, a specific general basically developed a system using the Mu radar that the British had, with the Norden bomb sight, with the P-47Ds, close ground support of the infantry troops, and deliver pretty accurately ordnance right in front of the ground troops, using a plane, repurposed plane that wasn't really meant for that job, the P-47 Thunderbolt. Very elaborate system. And that's something that we kind of forgot and had to rediscover later. You know, just what American ingenuity, right? Get it done.